I normally don't cover modern games or modern consoles, but I wanted to put this video together because at the time of recording this, there's slightly over 1 month left until you can no longer add funds in any way to the WiiU eShop. As of this recording, Nintendo has indicated the hard date of August 29th to add funds through the eShop gift cards. The ability to add funds on the eShop with a credit card ended earlier this year. The eShop will completely close down in March of 2023, so any purchases with funds added before August 29th must be spent by then. The Wii U was a financial failure for Nintendo, but the system and games are incredibly underrated. I purchased mine a few years after it launched, around the time that Super Mario 3D World was released. I own several titles for the system, and it's providing me with tons of hours of entertainment. Unfortunately, there never seemed to be very many titles released for the system, as most third-party publishers passed over releasing games for the Wii U, including the largest publisher at the time, Electronic Arts. Nintendo didn't have a very good relationship with too many developers at the time. Also, the Wii U integrated a gamepad that featured a touchscreen and motion controls. Many developers didn't want to make games that required the gamepad integration, so they stuck with games for the Xbox 360 or PS3 exclusively. In total, there were only 164 physical games released in North America, and including physical and digital-only games, a total of 789 games were released worldwide. That's quite a small amount compared to the 2,154 Xbox 360 games and 2,561 PlayStation 3 games, the two competing consoles at the time. In this video, I wanted to highlight several Wii U games that you can currently purchase on the eShop while you're still able to add funds. These are all games that I own and have played, and it's not an exhaustive list of great games for the system. I narrowed this list down to games that are either exclusive to the Wii U, meaning you can't find them on other systems, or games that were designed to take advantage of the gamepad hardware in some unique way. These are all games that you can buy physically as well. In some cases, the physical version is lower in price than the digital version. Other cases, the physical version is incredibly expensive compared to digital, such as games like Game & Wario that sells for more than $100 currently, or Zelda Twilight Princess HD that's quickly approaching the $100 mark. That being said, let's take a look at some great games that you can still pick up on the Wii U. First up is ZombiU. This was originally exclusive to the Wii U, but due to low sales, Ubisoft ported it to the PS3 and Xbox 360 a few years later. This version was designed with the gamepad in mind and plays very differently on the Wii U as a result. When it was ported to other consoles, the interactivity was removed and the game, now simply called Zombie, played more like a traditional first-person shooter. ZombiU is a survival horror game set in London after a zombie apocalypse. The goal is to survive and find a cure. Inspired by Resident Evil, you'll never have enough ammunition to kill everything, so on top of surviving zombie attacks, you'll need to manage scarce ammo and supplies. One really cool thing about this game is permanent death. If you die, that character stays dead and you'll start as a new character. This has consequences on the narrative of the story. The gamepad works as an in-game tablet. Through the pad, you'll communicate with your mysterious handler, guiding you along to mysterious goals that you can only speculate on. It also allows you to manage your inventory, and tasks like searching and analyzing items or hacking computer terminals occur through the gamepad and its motion controls. This game is ultra-violent, gory, and incredibly scary as the setting is at night in a large city, mostly under blackout conditions, where close to 100% of the population has become a zombie. I'll cover the next two games together. These are the Legend of Zelda HD remakes. We've got Twilight Princess HD and The Wind Waker HD. Both of these are presented in widescreen and full HD. Textures have been redrawn at a higher resolution, but the frame rate is still at 30 frames per second. In Twilight Princess, the evil monsters working to wake up Ganon from the Twilight Realm are invading Hyrule. You travel between the two worlds, but when in Twilight, you're transformed into a wolf. This is a fun new feature for a Zelda game, though I think some of the wolf sections are just a bit too long. dungeon design is very similar in structure to Ocarina of Time, so if you like that game, you're probably going to enjoy this one as well. The second Zelda game is The Wind Waker. Nintendo went with the cel-shaded cartoon style for this game. The Wii U version, unlike the GameCube original, is in full widescreen. The art is incredibly sharp and detailed, and the colors have also been enhanced from the original version. In this one, Hyrule is flooded and everyone lives on small islands. Ganon has returned yet again, and it's up to you to find the powers of the Hero of Time to stop him. This is a very unique entry in the series as you sail the oceans to explore the world. On top of that, there's a new cast of characters including Tetra and her crew of pirates that gives a fresh take on the series. Even though this looks like a cartoon, don't let that fool you into thinking the dungeons will be a pushover, because they're not. Next up is a set of games that can be purchased as single games or physically as a set. It's NES Remix 1 and 2. Each game consists of several NES games such as the Super Mario Bros. Games, Metroid, Legend of Zelda, Balloon Fight, the Donkey Kong games, Excitebike, Punch-Out!, and many more. This isn't simply a compilation of popular NES games, it's a series of hundreds of challenges that you have to complete to progress. Things start out rather simple, like grab all the coins with a short amount of time in Super Mario Bros., but the challenges get incredibly difficult as you progress. The more challenges that you complete, the more NES titles you unlock. Between both volumes, there's a total of 28 NES games. The best part of NES Remix is the Remix challenges. You never know what the challenge might be. For instance, it could be get to the top of the first stage in Donkey Kong in the dark, or complete level 2-3 in Super Mario Bros. Where Mario is constantly running and can't be stopped. Later in the game, you'll unlock challenges that mix different characters and elements from various games, like complete a Super Mario Bros. Stage with Link from The Legend of Zelda. Also included in Remix 2 is Super Luigi Bros. It's basically Super Mario Bros. The game, except you play as Luigi, and the entire game is flipped horizontally. It's really disconcerting playing this game backwards like this. Though the system didn't have very many RPGs, the few that did arrive on the console are fantastic. One of those is Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate. Now, this one did originally appear on the Wii under the name Monster Hunter Tri, but this is the definitive version of the game. It's an enhanced port and was earlier released on the console that really showed off the graphical capabilities. The graphics sadly didn't age very well compared to some later games, but the gameplay more than makes up for the graphical shortcomings. Your character, which you can customize, is a hunter assigned to defend a small fishing village. You do this by going on hunts for the village or the guild. Killing monsters and collecting resources allows you to improve the village and your equipment, allowing you to take on more powerful hunts. This was the first Monster Hunter game I ever played, and it's very easily accessible to new players. The first few hunts get you acquainted with the controls and gameplay elements, then you're left on your own to carve out your destiny. It's an action RPG with a relatively simple but robust combat system. The monsters that you'll encounter in the game really steal the show. Every hunt has a unique and beautifully rendered monster of some kind. This is also available on the 3DS, and as a really cool feature, you can transfer your save between the Wii U and 3DS so you can maintain your progress whenever you're playing at home or on the go. While I'm talking about RPGs, I can't leave out Xenoblade Chronicles X. This is part of the Xeno series, but usually gets forgotten due to being on the Wii U exclusively and not being connected to the other games in the series. If you haven't played Xenoblade Chronicles 1 or 2, don't worry, you won't be missing out as this is a standalone story within the series. Still, it's a great game. Like others in the series, it's an open-world action RPG. This one takes place after the destruction of Earth. You're part of a gigantic space ark that escaped the destruction, but is attacked and crash lands on uncharted planet known as Mira, a hostile world. Your mission is to find the missing escape pods and wake the colonists. As you play, you'll encounter many alien races and learn of the plot of one alien race to wipe out humanity. This is a much darker story than the other titles in the series, but it works for this game. The graphics are top-notch and one of the most beautiful games made to date. From the space battle cutscenes to the flybys of the planet's surface, everything was beautifully drawn. The controls are good, but combat takes some time to get familiar with. Your character progression is also customizable, and you have tons of skill and combat options, and the game features tons of unlockables and quests. Yoshi's Woolly World is another great 2.5D platformer. It follows the same gameplay formula as Super Mario World 2 Yoshi's Island on the Super Nintendo. As the title suggests, everything in the game is made out of yarn or sewing materials. For some reason, the graphic detail of the yarn objects seems almost hyper-realistic. I can't think of very many games that are more colorful than this one. Level design is excellent and all the boss fights are very creative, though they tend to use the same motif every time. Kamek uses his magic to make a small enemy giant, then it attacks you. Unlike Yoshi's Island though, you don't have to worry about baby Mario being stolen from you and incessantly crying. Thank God. There are tons of collectibles in each level. Collecting the hidden yarn bits in a level allows you to reconstruct another missing Yoshi. On the map screen, you can pick to play as any of the unlocked Yoshi variants. There are a ton of levels, and if you're trying to collect 100% of every secret item, you'll be investing a lot of time into this game. Outside of Yoshi's Island, though, this is my favorite Yoshi game. This video wouldn't be complete without a Mario title, and the one I went with is Paper Mario Color Splash. This game seems to get a lot of negative coverage lately, but I found this to be an incredibly fun game. Usually the critique is that it's not a clone of Paper Mario The Thousand Year Door, which was the GameCube entry and an incredibly good game. In this one, Mario and Peach travel to Prisma Island after finding a toad with his colors drained. You arrive and find the island deserted with spots all over the place of missing color. The princess gets kidnapped by Bowser, who seems to be possessed by evil black paint. It's your job to recolor the island, save the color-drained toads, and rescue the princess. This is a turn-based RPG with tons of areas to explore. You'll pick up cards along the way, and these give you the ability to attack in combat, as they work like single-use weapons. You'll meet plenty of interesting characters along the way that you'll help out or need to be helped out. The game also contains large amounts of humor, including a lot of fourth-wall-breaking jokes. Like all the other games in the series, everything is made of paper cutouts. I really like this style, and I like that the summon magic, called Things cards, are various office supplies and everyday equipment, including a fire extinguisher, a hibachi grill, or a giant desk fan that blows away the enemies. The gamepad is required in this game, as you'll use it to select your cards and paint them, which determines the power of your attack. You'll also manage your inventory through the gamepad, which is a nice convenience. Finally, we've got Kirby and the Rainbow Curse. This is a follow-up game to Kirby Canvas Curse, released a decade earlier on the Nintendo DS. In this one, an evil rainbow is attacking Dreamland, and Kirby's back to save the day. Similar to Yoshi's Woolly World that used a yarn style, Kirby and the Rainbow Curse has graphics that are entirely based on claymation. This looks fantastic when seeing Kirby and his world rendered in clay. Makes me wonder if they are actual clay models that were filmed and digitized for this game. The only downside is that the movement seems too fluid to look like stop-motion animation. The one time that a low frame rate might actually benefit the style of the game. The gamepad is essential for this game. Kirby can't move on his own, and you don't use the D-pad to control him. Tapping on him with the stylus on the gamepad sends him pinballing in the direction he's facing. In order to get him over obstacles, you'll need to draw rainbow-colored lines on the stylus pad to guide him around an obstacle. This is a lot of fun, but you will spend a lot of time looking back and forth between the gamepad screen and your television. In addition to the story mode, there's also a challenge mode with more than 40 challenges such as a time stage or puzzles to solve using Kirby. Another fun exclusive title with a very unique gameplay mechanic that works really well with the gamepad. So there you are, several great titles that I recommend checking out. All of these have physical releases, but many of them are starting to become ridiculously expensive. So if you're looking to pick them up digitally, make sure you don't miss out since there's only about a month left to add funds to the WiiU eShop. Let me know what you think of these games. Do you think there's something that I missed that people should check out before it's too late? Let me know in the comments. Thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Until then.